Canada had a record medal haul at the Summer Games, and Olympian Mark Tewksbury was in Paris to celebrate with some of the athletes. He welcomes us into his home, next on Living a Creative Life. Welcome to Living a Creative Life, and today we get to talk with former Olympian Mark Tewksbury. If you're in Calgary, you know, and if you aren't in Calgary now, you know. Thank you so much for being with us today, Mark.
My pleasure. And guess what? Once an Olympian, always an Olympian. It's like you're never a former president. Yeah, but I'm not, like I wasn't current, so I'm an Olympian, just not competing.
Thank you for the correction, Mark.
Yeah, no, very few people know that, so I'm glad for this learning moment.
Tell me a little bit about what it was like being in Paris 2024 Olympics. What's different?
Well, you know what? I think that Paris was great for the Olympic movement. I guess the Olympic movement was probably good for Paris too, but we really, I think, needed a city to bring the world back together that really could celebrate the Olympic movement and culture and everything about itself. And Paris could do that, you know, because it used the backdrop of such incredible, iconic landmarks as many of the venues. And it was just such a delight to be in the city. I felt like I had such a Parisian experience just because we were in so many incredible venues.
What was the same from your past experiences?
Yeah, it was, you know, because we have not had people in the stands since Rio in 2016 for Summer Games, you forget like the sea of humanity. Kind of cheesy, but it reminded me of why I love the Olympics, of the goodness of it, that we can stand as respectful competitors.
Respect, mutual respect. We don't all do the same thing, but we're amazing at it.
Yeah, there's an instant bond, you know. I think it probably like in the creative artist world, you know, that you may not do the same form of artistry, but there's a respect in sort of the day-to-day drudgery that we go through to do our craft or to do our sport or whatever it might be, that just is an inherent deep respect for each other.
Do you feel like sport is a creative expression?
I think it depends on the sport. You know, my sport, I didn't feel creative as a swimmer because it's really going to point A to point B as fast as you can. There's not a whole lot of style points or anything like that. And actually, like, my coach was pretty old school. My coach was, he loved tradition. He didn't love new things coming to the sport. And I kind of grew up in a pretty traditional thinking household in Calgary. And even though I'm super creative and very progressive, I've got a really harsh traditional side to me that also can be afraid of change. So between my coach and I, we were not creative in the pool at all. It was only when I had faced a crisis and I had to partner with a synchronized swimming coach. Synchronized swimming, now called artistic swimming, is certainly more artistic and expressive, but just her whole approach was more creative. It wasn't that I was going to become an artistic swimmer in swimming, but just her ability to think differently, to look at different aspects of my sport, showed me the importance of creativity just in sort of approaching the training regime.
You are a creative person and have had some coaching towards that in sport. Why is living a creative life important to you?
It's always been important to me to live a creative life. I think as a swimmer, it was so intense and the physical demands were enormous, but I needed like an escape, you know, I needed to recharge, and I did that through my best friend, my neighbor, who was an artist, a painter. And she brought me into her world with jewelry makers and other artists and painters and sculptors. And that was kind of my safe place, just to kind of be Mark, not the swimmer Mark that everybody knew, but just kind of to also explore my own identity, especially in those teenage years when we all need a safe outlet to do that. Yeah, I mean, I also turned out to be gay, you know, ta-da! Yeah, so I mean, I think that was all part of my own personal self-identification and being a human being and feeling and expressing yourself and all that stuff. Yeah, it was really important. So that, I guess, was my form of artistic expression when I was growing up. I also became a public speaker, right? So public speaking is very much, especially for me, I think it's about kind of taking the collective consciousness in a room and being able to articulate that and sort of put it in a meaningful, organized way so that it touches people.
Creative outlets change throughout our lives, or not, but for you, I'm hearing that it has.
Yeah.
What makes you creative now?
Well, I've spent the last year going almost every 2 weeks to get tattoos. So I've had close to 65 hours this year. Yeah, and it's all, they're all new, like they're all over my legs. So that's been a really super fun creative process for me this past year. But really, every morning when I wake up, I love to make a hot breakfast. So I just go into the kitchen and it just is my happy place. So a couple years ago, I decided, what if I made a huge change? And so I registered as an apprentice cook at SAIT. I go to school every Monday, and then I work other days of the week in a commercial kitchen to get my 1,560 hours to unlock the next year of school. So I feel super creative in the kitchen, especially at home, and I'm just learning so many tools to expand my creativity.
You're swimming, cooking, public speaking. What are you looking forward to that is creative or in the arts within Calgary that's coming up?
I'm always open to opportunity, and I do why say no, right? Life's too short. Let life surprise you. So Art Commons, they're going to start construction on their beautiful new structure, and so they're going to close the Olympic Plaza for a while that construction goes on. So they're doing a sort of party for all in the plaza, sort of a farewell, end of August, a couple bands, and I'm gonna be on the stage for that. I'm hoping maybe to get a current Olympian from this past Paris team to sort of hand the baton to. So that'll be a fun cultural sport event kind of thing.
That's amazing. People don't understand that Calgary is vibrant. There are so many things that are happening.
There are.
From a global perspective. And if you want to find something to do in Calgary, there is no reason why you can't.
Yeah, onus is on you just to go out there and find it.
Go out there and find it, or go out there and create it.
Oh, even better. How exciting.
Truly, there's nothing better than living a creative life. And so thank you so much for sharing with me. To everybody who thinks that I'm in this lane and I can't change, you have now just shown.
Never too late to start over.
Never too late to change or get a tattoo.
Or get a tattoo, exactly. Some people think it's a midlife crisis. I call it my third act.
I can't wait to see what's next.
Thank you.
Thank you again, Mark, for inviting us into your home. And remember, for a complete listing of the art scene in Calgary, check out yySceneWhat'sOn.ca. See you soon, or maybe sooner, on Living a Creative Life.